Hello everyone, today we are taking an existing D&D character of mine, my character Avren, who I've been playing since I was 8, and converting them to Daggerheart. We're not going to get into every single aspect of the character sheet, but I want to capture the essence, because we also have this amazing artist, Max Dunbar, who I've worked with at D&D, D&D Beyond. He does comics and all kinds of other stuff. And Max Dunbar has a brand new book called Fantasy Art, where you can see all of these awesome sketches, concept art, drawings of his all in one book. He is raising funds for that project right now, so click on the link in this video description. So let's go ahead and dive into who this character is. We are using Demiplane to showcase this character, and I'm really excited because there's a lot of spooky content on the Void right now, and Demiplane supports the Void. So that is their playtest material for Daggerheart. So jumping in right now, my character name is Avren. They are a Slyborn, so that means they're a lot better at kind of like the shady criminal aspects of things. They are starting out as an elf, but they're also going to be a warlock with the Pact of the Wrathful, which means they have this very specific weapon they like to use, and it's a handgun. And as you can see in this drawing is of a revolver, a pistol, that has a severed hand as the handle. And the story behind this is a clone of my main character, Avren, after he passed away. And this is the original severed hand from that character that was made into a pistol. And that's what they're holding in their hand right there, that is green. This character is kind of a weird amalgamation of being a clone of, having vampire pieces and werewolf pieces and other parts stitched together, which is why you see this cool stitching on the character. So they are kind of a reanimated character, but I went with the new transformations, which cover reanimated, but I decided to go with vampire instead for a variety of reasons. I'm really trying to evoke the creepiest version of a character I could kind of come up with. So again, it's going to be a warlock, because they were a warlock in D&D, so they're a warlock here. And it's Pact of the Wrathful, which is very similar to being a Pact of the Blade in D&D. So we're going to move along. We've got our black powder revolver, which I've already chosen. For domain effects, this is a level 7 character. I chose Blighted Strike, which is a far range attack using magic damage. And you can, if you succeed with fear, you get added bonuses on top of that. This is a character who is constantly taking advantage of fear, both in the sense that they are causing fear, but they are also kind of fourth wall breaking, aware of what the game master is up to. So they're either taking fear away from the game master, or they're adding fear to the pile, but no matter what, is always to their creepy benefit. I think of almost like a vampiric version of Pennywise in terms of like feasting on fear, but without the clown stuff, because I hate clowns. Clowns freak me out. So we're using another spell called Dire Strike. This is something that allows us to take fear away from the game master, potentially. We have Siphon Essence, which really kind of, it's a very close range attack, but it allows you to gain health points back. And also, if you succeed with fear, you get benefits there as well. So leaning into that again, and it's a very vampiric ability, which we already have because we're a vampire, but this allows us to do something more often. I've got Terrify on here as well. This is a good defensive spell, I feel like. If you want to pop in and protect your party, protect yourself, you can cause someone to become, exceptionally afraid of you and run away if you're in a bad situation. So I imagine you can kind of like wolf out, transform in some way, and that terrifies the target when you really need help getting out of a bad situation. So Terrify is really fun for that. And then we have Dread Touched. Dread Touched is one of those really fun cards that if you have a whole bunch in this domain, you gain other advantages having to deal with fear and marking stress. And this also gives you like a +1 bonus to the roll for each fear token the game master has. I love weaponizing the idea of weaponizing a resource that the dungeon master has, and that you can keep on kind of adding to that pile or reducing it. So no matter what the state is of how much fear there is on the table, you are getting an advantage, or you can also kind of reduce that harmful effect. Now I am choosing the vampire transformation, which is great because you can actually attack a living creature. You can place a number of tokens on this card equal to the hit points your target marks. And then you can hold on to these tokens up to 5. And then you can spend a token on an action roll to make your fear die D20 instead. This is pretty advantageous because you're probably going to succeed with fear because, again, it's that push and pull. And you also have a greater chance of succeeding overall. So I think that's really advantageous, and you're really being rewarded for, frankly, feeding off of living things. So, and again, it's all about that reducing fear or adding fear to the pile for your advantage, because you really are this spooky creature. And that really brings me to the experiences that I've chosen for this particular character. Let's go over the Warlock first sphere and second sphere. I chose Mischief and Dreadful. And I really like that this character is mischievous, kind of a trickster, but also has this very dreadful aspect. And you can gain favor, and you can use favor as a warlock to gain advantages when you lean into that, mischief kind of side of your character, as well as being this dreadful, scary figure on top of everything else. So that is leaning into all of that content. For my experiences, I've been very specific, sort of. I've chosen a thing that goes bump in the night. This is my innate knowledge of all creepy things that exist out there, all the creepy monsters that we may run into. I have an unusual amount of insight into what those things are, whether they're a variety of werewolves or vampires or different types of monsters. I have Lethal Protector. It is kind of that, I am this kind of innately evil feeling creature, being a vampire and also kind of a reanimated version of all kinds of Frankenstein parts. But when it comes to protecting my friends and protecting others, I will do the absolute most dreadful thing to make sure they're safe. So leaning into that to get a bonus is really fun. Silver-tongued Devil is very on brand for this character. They're very good at talking their way out of situations, being persuasive to get out of issues. And that's good because this character has a very kind of creepy countenance. And sometimes you want to scale that back so you can walk into a tavern and not necessarily have an issue with everyone there. And then something wicked this way comes when this character leans into something like intimidation, or to creeping out another monster or another NPC. This or trying to get off an effect that is really strange and unusual. This is where the character leans in. So I think these experiences can be really fun if you're a fan of horror movies, if you're a fan of strange creatures, if you love vampire films and werewolf movies and supernatural films. I feel like all of these experiences are kind of tailor-made for that kind of weird feeling that you're trying to evoke. A little bit of Venom in there as well from, Marvel. That's why I chose Lethal Protector, because I like this idea of a creepy creature, a creepy monster that is ultimately doing good by maybe the most nefarious ways, the most creepy ways possible. Now, in this case, I do have Siphon Essence. This might be a little bit overkill for what I'm capable of doing. I think Terrify is a really good ability, particularly if you're trying to feed as a vampire, because that target can become vulnerable. I do feel like one of these I kind of need to swap out. So I am thinking that I might swap out Dire Strike. And I'm going to, instead of using Dire Strike, I may actually use Jump Scare. So Jump Scare works really well with something like Blighted Strike, because I am doing, magic damage to that creature. And what Jump Scare allows me to do, which is the most typical monster thing ever in a horror film, is when I deal magic damage to a target, I can mark a stress and immediately teleport within melee range of that creature. The real big advantage here is I can use something like Blighting Strike from far range, do magical damage, and then this allows me, on top of everything else, to use jump scare. Then I can teleport directly to the target because I did magic damage, and now that target is vulnerable until they've marked some hit points. So for a vampire, jump scare is perfect. So bleeding strike, jump scare, you teleport right next to your target, and now you can bite them. Super advantageous for you if you're trying to play a character like that. Plus, jump scare is just one of my favorite domain cards in the game right now. I think it's super fun and on theme. I really like Pact of the Wrathful. As I said, that really keys into the creepy severed handgun that my character Avron, holds on to. I love the tentacles behind in this concept art because that kind of shows off the Herald of Death, the menacing reach, the creepiness of this character. I really think the Pact of the Wrathful is absolutely perfect for this gothic, creepy, severed handgun. It all works so well together. I absolutely love it. So we've got a character that's really good at, long range attacks, close range attacks, and really using fear as a resource constantly in the game. This, I think, will be incredibly fun to play. Obviously, I don't have it completely optimized right now, but based off also this great concept art that Max Dunbar worked with me on, I love it. It is amazingly how talented Max Dunbar is and how well they captured this creepy character that is a little bit Frankenstein, a little bit vampire, who has taken magic from some kind of Cthulhu unnamed horror in the depths. It really has that really cool Victorian era nightmare feel. So thank you so much to Max Dunbar. Again, click in the link in the video description to check out his book, Max Dunbar Fantasy Art. He's raising funds for that book right now. It is absolutely amazing looking, and he is super talented. Also, if you like videos like this, I'm going to keep on making character builds. We have a Patreon page that helps support future video content like that, interviews, playtest materials, all sorts of stuff. That is also in the link of this video description. Thank you again to Max Dunbar. Thank you for hanging out and learning about my creepy Daggerheart character. It was a lot of fun converting them from D&D into Daggerheart. And for stats, I mainly leaned into strength to give me a benefit to my vampiric bite, and also presence, which is what most of my abilities are kind of keying off of in terms of social interaction, and also, my dread domain cards. So thank you so much for watching. Have a very spooky day.